All right, hello guys. Welcome here to Sunday Morning Tinkle. We're back after kind of an unplanned week off. Unfortunately, now we're in both of our busy seasons here. We're both
hmm
coaching basketball this year, so that's a big reason an episode didn't come out last week. And then
Right.
just we're both busy with our work schedules. But hey, it's November 19th. We're going into Thanksgiving, so a happy Thanksgiving to everyone watching. We're also
Yes, sir.
into the dog day, the end of the line as far as No Shave November goes. Um,
Yeah,
I
as you can tell, mine's a very bushy.
mine's I'm not used to having a beard because I finally got a razor that doesn't cut my face up when I'm shaving or leave acne behind. So it's
Right.
been a blessing. It's been great. And I'm like, man, I'm starting to like being clean shaven. And now I'm just used to it. Of course, when we started the show, I had the beard going, I had the beard rocking, and I kept it year round. Now, like, I don't know, it's once you get into that routine, it's like, man. But,
I feel you there. I
alright,
try to
but coming up,
keep clean shaven as much as possible, but of course, I'm gonna stay true to No Shave November and all everything like that. Actually, this was even even a little before the end of October, so this is
yeah,
really kind of the result of towards like almost the last week of October into almost the
yeah.
middle of November. So
Now,
you
cause
can definitely tell that your boy is ready for December 1st.
and I don't know, I might keep it going into the games, but we got to get moving here. But I do want to say, No Shave November. There is a cause for this, or a
hmm
cause you can donate to. We have not had a team on there since season number 2, but please do go in and donate to noshave.org. It helps raise money for cancer awareness. So for those who don't know, noshave.org, basically the money you would use to buy razors, that's what you would donate to No Shave November at the end of the month.
Right.
So that's why that's there. But I just wanted to explain that because I felt that was very important to deliver. So with that coming up on the show, we're going to talk. Boy, both of our teams are just having rough goes of it. We're going to start with that. Then, of course, we got worst take and Tinkle on this. So with that, I'll let Jason take over here for his takeaways.
Right. So Buffalo, are on two games, two losses in a row. Um, and because of those two losses in a row, they just had enough of their offensive coordinator and decided to fire him uh middle of the season, which I don't know if that was such a good idea. I think they should have done it earlier or waited until after the season to probably fire him into heading into next season. But they thought, well, we're 5-5, why not try to experiment to see if it's maybe him that's the cause or if it's somebody else.
Hmm.
But yeah, Buffalo fires Ken Dorsey after the Monday night loss to Denver. They announced Joe Brady as interim offensive coordinator. If that sounds familiar, he used to be the offensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers from 21 or from 2020 to 2021 before being the um, quarterbacks coach last year, and then heading into this season before becoming the interim offensive coordinator for the Bills now. Team is riding on. They're 5-5 after 10 games. Now the real question is this just you should just give up at this point, or with 7 games left, you gotta see what you can get out of Joe Brady and maybe see if you can turn this offense around. I don't know. It's tough.
Here's here's kind of the deal. I've said they're done, and I'm on record
Well,
saying
yeah.
it. Your next takeaway, frankly, doesn't change my opinion on it. Um, I really think they're done. You know, 5-5. They've got after this week. I mean, 3 out of the next 4 are ones you could easily chalk up as a loss.
Right.
And then
I will say that the AFC has had a very tough schedule, especially the AFC East.
Yeah.
They have had a very tough schedule. All teams have been showing that with a tough schedule like this, it's not easy, and that's why teams like the Jets and the Bills and the Dolphins have kind of been, maybe the Miami Dolphins are the one team that's actually benefiting from a kind of easier schedule because, I mean, they've been the second team the last couple of years behind Buffalo. But the problem is that it's I don't know. It's very tough because, I mean, case can be said for both teams. Oh, well, they have only really beaten kind of easy teams, which, yeah, in a way, yes. Both teams kind of have. But, I mean,
right now
I
the
want to
Bills
stay
aren't even
optimistic.
beating
I
the
mean,
easy
the
teams.
7th seed isn't like it's out of the question, but they have to have a lot of going on their side to be able to get there. Can Joe Brady be the guy that can be different? Possibly. I don't know. I want to say he might be on the sidelines than actually in the booth, unlike Ken Dorsey. So maybe that can help because you can see things on the field differently than being in the booth and seeing things from up there. So personally, I think that firing Ken Dorsey was a scapegoat option. I don't think because even last year they had Ken Dorsey calling plays. They went 13-3 or 13-4 and had so much heartbreak and everything like that going into the season. I don't know what's different this year. I don't know if it's because it's the harder schedule. Josh is just not seeing things a certain way. I don't know what it is, but I mean, Ken Dorsey, I guess that I saw that eventually happening sooner than later, but I don't know. This team needs a lot going on. I think that the seat for Sean McDermott's gotten a lot hotter, especially after this year, because if you don't turn things around heading into next year, and say you had the same thing happen next year that you did this year, I hate to say it, I think Sean McDermott's got to be gone from Buffalo.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna be fair here. 5-5. To fire Ken Dorsey. I mean, at this point, you got really nothing to lose, and you don't have much to gain because even if you do get back in the wild card, you've lost every AFC matchup that's of importance. It makes, to me, looking at the rest of the schedule, of course, they've got the Jets, a game they need to win. Okay, there's no exception here. They need to win this because the Jets are just as much in the wild card hunt as the Bills are. Will they make it? We don't know. But, you still got to treat it like they're a team you're battling for a wild card. The Eagles...
they got... Jets, Eagles,
that's
Chiefs, Cowboys, Chargers, Patriots, and Dolphins are the last 7 games that they have on the year.
To me, the 2 games you got to circle now are the Jets and the Chargers. And I'm telling you right now, I'm going to make this bold prediction here. If the Bills do go through, and let's just say they beat the Jets, they beat the Eagles, they beat the Chiefs, they beat the Cowboys. I don't think that's going to happen. But let's just say they get to 9-5, 8-6 in that stretch. Maybe they fall to 7-7. But I'm telling you, I'm circling that Chargers matchup because I'm telling you, I think that matchup, if the Bills come out even just a game above 500 or 2 games above 500, both of our teams are going to, and this is assuming the Chargers do what they usually do, and that's heat up in December. This is going to be a matchup for the playoffs at that point. It's going to be whoever wins is going on, the other one's going home. So I think there's going to be more implications in that game, assuming that all happens. Now, if the Bills drop 3 games and beat the Jets, they're done. Like, I mean, they're automatically done. But they've got to be, again, and another thing, there's going to be no 9-8 teams. Now, on McDermott, he is the best coach the Bills have had since Marv Levy. And I'm sorry, but if you guys can him, I hope my team is smart enough to go out and grab him.
Right.
But, you know, and I could tell you another thing. There's no head coach. There's no potential head coach out there that is going to coach this team half as good as Sean McDermott has.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's just been doing a very good job with the defense. I mean, I know he's got his hands very heavy, but maybe it was Ken Dorsey that was the problem. I mean, I guess we'll have to see in the next 7 games if he was really truly the problem or not. I mean, because I really do think that McDermott's been doing a pretty good job with the defense. I mean, defense has been good. I mean, the secondary hasn't been the greatest, but the front four has really been what has helped out this team a lot. But I'm not gonna go too heavy with it. But I want to stay optimistic. But at this point, I think that you waited too long. You should have done it earlier in the year, honestly, before letting it kind of slip to where it is now. This one is an interesting one, which is going to change the whole landscape of the NFL. Well, Joe Burrow is now out for the rest of the year with torn ligaments in his throwing arm. It really does come at a very tough, wrong time for a team that is a contender. Can they still make playoffs with Browning? I mean, that's the real question.
I mean, this is just unfortunate. But I'm going to have to ask you to repeat the question because I was looking at the playoff picture on my phone.
Could Joe Burrow, even though the Bengals are without Joe Burrow, could they still possibly make playoffs with Jake Browning?
I mean, they got the tiebreaker. They got a tiebreaker over the Bills, but they haven't beaten many other AFC teams other than that. So that's where my issue
currently
lies.
They're sitting out of playoffs. Houston is a 7th seed right now at, I think, 5-5 right now too.
And I'm telling you,
Houston just beat them. Then Cincinnati also lost to Baltimore Thursday, so it does not look very promising for the Cincinnati Bengals at a time that they were trying to really turn things around, honestly.
And it's a shame because they really were starting to turn things around, right? I mean, because they were starting to crawl their way back in the division. I believe they could have won that game had Burrow stayed in the game. It's just unfortunate because, and also something I read on Twitter, take it or X or whatever you want to call it truth, call it false, whatever it is. When the NFL wrote the schedule this offseason, they wanted to send Cincy to Arrowhead because that rivalry has just been firing up the last few years. They wanted to put a little extra incentive on it, maybe a battle for the number 1 seed or in a few weeks. Now that whole storyline, that whole narrative is gone on this.
I know.
It shows you just how much injuries suck. But on the bright side, the other option is if Browning doesn't work out, A.J. McCarron is also on that roster.
I think he might be the best option because, I mean, he almost won a playoff game for them back in the day, so he might have to be an option.
It's possible. I mean, I think ultimately now, though, looking at the picture, and I was hoping to do like some mid-season grades last week, if we were able to do it, and say, maybe predict what could happen. maybe we'll do it before we get into media's worst take of the week if we have some time. But Cincy's, man, I mean, number one, they're done. But I could see them sneak in.
What's up?
I said, but I could potentially see them sneak in. I mean, they do play the Colts in a few weeks. They play the Steelers this week. And I mean, the Steelers, they're like the Raiders a few years ago. And, you know, how the Raiders backed into the playoffs by, you know, with Rich Biscaccia coaching them.
Right.
It's that Steelers team gives me that vibe. You know, Jags is another game. I feel like it's winnable. Again, Colts, I feel like could go either way, but that's a game they'd have to win to stay alive. You know, then they got the Steelers, the Chiefs, and the Browns in the final weeks. I'm not saying it's impossible. I would say if you're comparing two teams, you know, Buffalo and Cincy, I give a little slight edge to Cincy just because the schedule's just a little bit easier, but at the same time, define easier.
You can't count out Houston either, honestly, and they've been really good with CJ Stroud.
Sorry, I should rephrase that. What I was trying to say is if between the two, because these two have the lowest, or the worst records against AFC opponents.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, I'd give Cincy a slight edge. I'd say Cincy's a little bit more favored to get there than Buffalo is, even with the quarterback injury, just because that schedule's so much easier than the Bills.
Right.
But again, we'll see what happens. You know, I mean, the Bills could surprise us. We don't know, but
that's why I'm hoping. I mean, I'm hoping maybe they can somehow surprise us and get in. It sucks it would be as a wild card team, but I mean, it'd be better than nothing at this point. But
yeah,
problem is that now, you know, Cincinnati is out of it. It really sucks for them, honestly. But
it's a shame. I had him in
it's the second time in his career that, you know, he's gotten an injury like that. I don't know, you know, for a team that has aspirations to possibly, you know, win the Super Bowl. They got there against the Rams, lost. Probably should have won it, to be honest with you, but I mean, it really sucks for both the Bills and Bengals. They're so good, but just the records are just Burrow has also been. I mean, he came into the season hurt. Then he's leaving the season hurt. It looked bad for Burrow even from the get-go. Allen, I mean, he hasn't been the greatest either, but has the offense really, you know, has the play calling really put him in the position to be successful? That's really what's the question too. But other than that, I'm not going to go into it too deep. Honestly, I think I'm going to send it to you and talk about your Chargers there.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about that, obviously. Quite a game against the Lions, but again, 38 points would have won you any game in the league probably last week, while the Lions got 41. And that's a testament to Coach Staley's defense there, which just fire the guy. I mean, the Lions were a good team too. I'm not saying they're a bad team, but I'm saying when you put up 38, the result should be a win. Because otherwise it says your defense just isn't that good.
Right.
So, you know, Herbert, oh my God. Man, if Herbert... Oh, he's got the lowest turnovers in the league right now, I believe, right? Last I checked, he's one of the lowest in turnovers. So, and Keenan Allen is top 5 in receptions. There's another
Right.
stat that Keenan Allen's top 5 in every receiving stat this year. I'm sorry, that's what I was going to say. And to sit at 4 and 6. It tells me two things. Number one, it's poor coaching that's holding us back. Okay?
Yeah.
There's nothing else that I can sit here and, explain as far as that goes. Poor coaching. And then number two, the other thing, and I know I'm going to talk about this in my next takeaway, but it tells me Kellen Moore's in line for a head coaching job. Okay? Because
I mean, you would hope that he would turn that team around if he was to take it over from Staley. To be honest with you, I mean,
I don't want him. That's the thing.
I will say that a lot more teams seem to be a lot more successful with an offensive-minded head coach and a defensive-minded head coach. I mean, for example, Nick Sirianni, and
Kyle Shanahan.
Andy Reid, Kyle Shanahan. Those teams are super successful and offensive-minded head coaches. Not saying that defensive-minded head coaches can't have success and do well, but if you look at it, a lot more teams seem to be in it every single year with offensive-minded head coaches. It just, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, true, but also,
don't get me wrong. Usually defense wins
possible.
championships, but a lot of times you don't see those kind of head coaches really, being in the conversation every year. I mean, don't get me wrong. Sean McDermott's maybe been the one exception, but
so
yeah.
I mean, but this week we play the Packers, and the reason I'm listing these games off is because this is going to lead to my next question. Packers, Ravens, that's a big game on Sunday Night Football. Patriots, we haven't beaten in the Bill Belichick era. Broncos twice, the Raiders, the Bills, and the Chiefs. Do I think they can make playoffs on that schedule? I mean,
probably not. It's probably.
I'm telling you, Ravens I can chalk up as a loss. We're not beating Baltimore.
Yeah,
there's no
Baltimore
way.
has surprised the hell out of me this year. Not gonna lie.
Baltimore.
They've beaten some teams that I didn't even think they were gonna beat this year. To be honest with you.
I'd be I'd be pessimistic to say it's not possible. Because I think, the Packers can be a win. Because I just don't think the Packers are a good football team this year.
Jordan Love's not. I don't think their answer at quarterback. I hate to say it.
The Patriots, the problem is they always have our number. I don't know what it is. Like, the last time we played them even, we were a drastically better team than they were, and they still beat us. So I'm not going to chalk that up for anything. Broncos will beat 1 out of 2. Raiders, my only issue with the Raiders game is that new head coach. We just don't know what to expect. So
the 2 times against the Broncos, you just never know because the Broncos seem like they've turned it around as of late too. I mean, they're 4-5. I mean, they're still technically in there into the playoff hunt too.
But
so you just never know what kind of Broncos team we're gonna get. Are you gonna get the one from earlier in the year, or are you gonna get the one that is from now? I mean,
I think the Bills is winnable. I'm just saying, if I'm looking at the schedule, there's 3 games that I think are winnable. Now, 4 games that I think are winnable on that schedule, and the Bills included. I think we can beat Buffalo, but will it happen is the reality. It
depends on. Well, first off, you're going to be playing them off of bye. Maybe they can turn things. They get, some turnaround stuff. I don't know.
And
I wouldn't say that would even be easy for both teams. I mean,
after the Ravens, and after the Patriots, it's 4 games in a row. 4 games in a row where we have to win. Like, these are teams that we're going to be battling for a wild card against, so they are teams we have to, in my eyes, beat. And again, we've seen the Chargers go on great runs through December to make a late season surge. It's not out of the question, but again, I just say it out loud, 9-8 is not going to make the playoffs. Got news for you there. It's just not.
yeah, probably
And
not.
then the Chiefs, I'm not even going to make a prediction on the Chiefs game because we don't know what's going to happen yet. At this rate, they're going to lock up the number 1 seed and back their way into another Super Bowl that they don't deserve to be in. So,
Right.
but with that, I want to talk about the head coaching job with the Chargers. Of course, Brandon Staley, it's been no secret, despite having a winning record as a head coach, he's on the hot seat right now. It would appear that the Chargers are looking to move on from him at the conclusion of the season. And one name has kind of emerged in a surprising fashion as the next head coach of the LA Chargers. And Bill fucking Belichick. Oh my god. Just when you think the Spanos family can't get any dumber, they find ways. Now, everyone's like, oh, well, look at what they've done to you the last 17 years or whatever, or the last 20-something years under Belichick. You guys would be lucky enough to have them. No, look at the last 3 years. Okay? Look at the last 4 years of Belichick without Brady. Look at Belichick when he was coaching the Browns and the Jets. Okay? I got news for you. He's not a good coach. He's really not. He's an all-time head coach for what he did, winning 6 Super Bowls. But he's not him anymore. Hey.
A lot of that could be, because of Tom Brady more than it is because of him and his great coaching. Because if he was to have a generational quarterback like that right now in New England, probably their success would be better. But Mac Jones and Bailey Zapp is not those kind of guys. Same thing with Will Greer. Hate to say it. Speaking of Mac Jones, now he went from starter to third string. I don't know if you saw that.
He lost the locker room, so it's not surprising. So he is definitely going to be on his way out now. If you had any questions regarding that, you just got them answered. But Belichick has proven, though. What's that?
So in terms of coaching, I don't know if that's such a good idea. If anything, I think Belichick will probably be front office with the Patriots more than jumping from the Patriots to the Chargers and being the head coach. Hate to say it.
I don't want him. That's all I'm going to say is look at his track record. His coaching staff. He's literally got a coaching staff full of, oh my God. He's got a coaching staff full of Rodney Dangerfields. Nobody respects them. I got news for you. Nobody respects his coaching staff or his coaches that go on to get head coaching jobs. So what makes you think that anywhere outside of New England that people are going to respect Belichick and buy into his way?
Right.
I'm telling you. I would almost rather keep Staley another year at that point. I'd rather sit and deal with the misery of another year of Staley. So, I'd even take Kellen Moore, and I don't think Kellen Moore deserves the head coaching job, but again, Charger's gonna Charger. Unfortunately, that's what keeps me drinking.
Yeah.
So with that, I guess since we're halfway through the year, before we get into media's worst take of the week, I think we got just a little bit of time. So I guess who do you think could make the playoffs here at mid-season?
In mid-season, like
going forward here, who do you think could make the playoffs?
Like in the AFC and NFC, or
Yeah.
just the AFC? Well, definitely, I'm thinking Baltimore, Miami. Who is leading the AFC South? I'm trying to think. Was it? Isn't it Jacksonville?
Jags.
The Jags. I'm gonna say Jacksonville and Houston, both in that division, make playoffs. I'm gonna say Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and I want to say, and I'm not trying to sound biased, I want to say somehow Buffalo gets in there. But if it's not Buffalo, I'm gonna say, oh gosh, maybe somehow the Jets, because somehow something tells me that somehow Aaron Rodgers is going to come back and revive that Jets team and make playoffs. I don't know why.
Oh man.
But I think that AFC is going to be Chiefs as the 1. I think it's going to be the Ravens as the 2. I'm going to say Houston as the 3. I think that somehow Houston's going to win that division. I don't know why. Okay, how about this? Miami is the 3, Houston as the 4. I'm going to say Jacksonville as the 5, Pittsburgh as the 6, and I'm missing a 17th, but
I mean, right now, based on what you said, it might be
Buffalo as the 7th seed. Honestly, I can see it happening.
You and I could not be in more disagreement on that. I don't see any path for the Bills getting in. I'm sorry, it's over. Chalk it up.
Right.
I guess I'll make my AFC pick and then we'll go to the NFC. Chiefs are going to back their way into the number 1 seed. It's just going to happen, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Baltimore's going to be right behind them. You know, those two are going to go toe-to-toe this year, I think.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sorry. I see Houston getting that number 3 seed because Houston, my goodness, like, are they underrated?
Is very good. I mean, just chalk up him as the offensive rookie of the year because he deserves
Frankly, put him in the MVP race at this point. Dude's freaking...
I don't see that happening. I hate to say
Dude is there. Dude is there. But I think Miami's getting the 4. I'm going to say... man. Now it gets tricky because I say Pittsburgh's going to be in there. I don't think...
Oh, you know what? Okay, how about this? I can see it being... Okay, you know what? I know what my 7th team is. I forgot about this. Okay, so you're right. I can see it being Kansas City, Baltimore... No, you're fine. I can see it being Kansas City, Baltimore, Houston, Miami, Jacksonville, Pittsburgh, and the Jags. I mean, I guess that would be the 17th,
Didn't you say Jacksonville? You already said Jacksonville.
Well,
you said them twice.
Oh, okay. Well, Jacksonville, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland. How about that?
I mean, I was going to go same thing. Jacksonville's going to get the 5, I think. Pittsburgh, I can see getting the 6. I'm not sold on Vegas yet because they really haven't beaten any good teams to move up to 5-5 under the new head coach there. I would actually lean toward Indy. I think Indy can sneak in, to be totally honest.
I don't know if Minshew is going to be good enough to get them a playoff team.
I'm like torn between Indy and Denver for some reason. I just don't see the Jets getting there. I don't know.
Okay, see, you said yours. I know I didn't really go on, but like definitely Kansas City, Baltimore, Houston, Miami. I'm going to say Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and Jacksonville. Those are going to be my 7.
All right. So there's our 7 on the AFC. What about the NFC, real quick?
NFC, I'm going to say Philadelphia, Detroit, Atlanta. I'm going to say Atlanta. I'm going to say somehow Atlanta edges the Saints.
Hmm. You'd
What
probably be
division
San Fran in the West you're thinking of, right? You haven't gotten the West yet.
The AFC West. Oh
NFC West. I mean, San Fran's basically destroying everybody in that division.
Okay. San Fran. And then my 3 wild card teams, I can see Dallas being in there. The Saints and Minnesota.
Okay. I mean, I agree with you.
Seattle. I should say Seattle.
Yeah.
How about this? I change out Saints. I'm going to say Seattle. I'm going to say Philadelphia as the 1. The 2 is going to be Detroit. 3 is going to be
San Fran.
4 is going to be Atlanta. I can see the 5 being Dallas, the 6 being Seattle, and the 7 being, I don't know, New Orleans.
Okay, then. I mean, so I'm not sold on New Orleans. I'm going to be honest. I'm just going to disagree with you on that. I think Philly, Detroit, San Fran, lock them in. It doesn't matter what order, but they're going to be the top 3.
Minnesota, I think, is going to probably somehow take the 7th seed, if not take the division, to be honest with you.
They're not taking the division. I'm sorry. I'm disagreeing on that.
Probably not over Detroit. Okay. No. Yeah, I can see Josh Dobbs helping Minnesota win a wild card spot.
All right. Yeah, so I'm going to make my picks here now. So Philly, Detroit, San Fran, lock them in. They're the top 3. There's no one that's going to beat them. New Orleans is going to play. They're the 4 right now. I could see Tampa maybe overtaking them, but I don't know. I think that division's just so weak to begin with. Tampa's got an easy schedule going forward.
Somehow is not terrible to win that division, though, to be honest with you.
Tampa's got it easy, though, because they just got to survive the Bucks. Or Tampa's got to survive the 49ers, and then they literally got the Colts, the Panthers, twice. You're telling me that they're not going to sweep Carolina? Because I'm going to call bullshit if you say they don't.
I mean,
okay.
I say they win 1, lose 1.
Okay.
Not sweep.
I mean, then the next step is they got the Falcons. That one's a 50-50. They got the Packers. They should win against Green Bay. The Jags, that's up in the air. New Orleans, I think they can beat. I'm sorry.
Constantly.
I'm just not buying New Orleans as a good team. So I'm gonna just go with the wild statement and say the Bucks get in as the number 4, but they are gonna be a one and done. I'm just gonna be flat out honest there. The Bucks are gonna win, but they're gonna win the division, but they're gonna be a first round exit. Because they're gonna play Dallas. And obviously, by the way, prayers for Leighton Vander Esch. That's a scary, scary neck injury he
could be out
sustained.
for he could be
His career's
his
over.
career could be
from what I
over
heard.
with.
So,
Yeah.
you hate to see that. But Dallas is going to be the 5. I just love these Vikings. These Vikings just look so good right now with Josh Dobbs.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see them playing spoiler in the playoffs.
And just think that I don't think Justin Jefferson is back yet. Justin Jefferson should be coming back soon.
He won't be
That's
this
also
week.
going to help out that team big time too.
So I'm telling you, I mean, leave Minnesota is kind of that team to watch because they're a team that I think is sneaky good. And then number 7, it's toss up. I mean, but really, I mean, the 7 teams that are in right now, with the exception of the NFC South, it's really predetermined. I mean, what is it? Minnesota's 2 games ahead in the 7th seed from the 8th seed. And then once you get to the 8th seed, everybody else is below 500. So there's only 7 teams in the conference above 500.
It's crazy.
Night and day difference. So I like that. That's the picks. Let's do media's worst take of the week because we spent a lot of time on this. We got to get the show rolling. Of course, Dan Orlovsky. I've said it before. He's probably the dumbest analyst on ESPN, dumbest analyst in all sports. Sure enough, he did not disappoint. Mr. Safety comes out with statement saying Cleveland would be a playoff team with Mac Jones. There's what I think of that.
First off, Mac Jones in his 3 years in the league has been absolutely atrocious of a quarterback. I mean, yeah, he made playoffs his rookie year, and that's it. This Patriots team is terrible.
Yeah,
they're 2-8. They should be 0-10. I hate to say it. They should not have won a game. But okay, how about this? It should be 1-9, if anything. Just going off of everything that's happened and whatnot. Yeah, maybe they should have won more games.
Yeah, early on they should have won a couple.
In Cleveland, of all places, no. If anything, Cleveland shouldn't have gotten rid of Josh Dobbs like they did, sending him to Arizona, because that was the worst mistake they could have ever made. First off, Deshaun Watson has got a fully guaranteed $230 million contract, and he's only played 12 games in 2 years. That's sad.
He's robbing them. That's what he's doing.
Yeah, he's robbing them. But there's not much that Cleveland can do when it's a fully guaranteed contract. They're going to be eating up a lot of cap whether he's on a team or not.
My thing...
In terms of Mac Jones, no, I cannot see them being a playoff team with him. So, Dan Orlovsky, you dumb fool. You probably shouldn't be an analyst. You should probably be back to running in the back of the end zone, running away from the defenders more than being an analyst, because clearly you weren't good as a quarterback and you're not good as an analyst either. So, I heard there's a job for you at McDonald's, though.
Yeah, that's exactly where he belongs. He's about as armchair of an analyst as half the people who do work at McDonald's talking football on Sundays. So, I just can't wrap my head around that. That's just such a bad take all around. Like, Cleveland's... I mean, if you hand the ball to Jerome Ford could have 2,000 rushing yards and they could make the playoffs on that. So I wouldn't doubt that if you had said that, but not Mac Jones. No, he's not leading them anywhere. He can't even lead his team out of a wet paper bag.
Somehow overthrow Cooper or Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper would be not a top receiver under Mac Jones.
Hey.
Mac Jones would overthrow him every chance he would get and throw turnover city. So, good luck.
And hey, let me know when Mac Jones can lead a team out of a wet paper bag without complaining.
Yeah, right.
Wasn't it last year? It was like, oh, and you know what? And I'll admit, I had said if he had an offensive coordinator, he'd actually be a little bit better at quarterback. I walked that back now. That should actually be up there on one of the worst takes as well for the year. So, but that's the worst take. Let's talk this Diggs controversy because I feel like this has to be talked real quick. Trayvon saying that his brother needs off the Bills. And Stefan, by the way, confirmed by Yahoo Sports, has said, my brother doesn't speak for me, essentially. So
yeah, he actually distanced himself away from his younger brother Trayvon Diggs. Trayvon Diggs is also one out for the rest of the year. Two, he's got no room to talk at all. I hate to say it. I get it that the Dallas Cowboys are in there in the playoffs. They're a playoff team. They're not quite out of possibly somehow winning the NFC East. Not saying it's going to happen, but it's not out of the question either. But Trayvon, first off, shut the hell up. 1. 2, you have no room to speak at all because I'm pretty sure you've let receivers burn past you, even though you lead them. You've led the league in interceptions a couple of years in a row. But hate to say it, you're not the greatest corner either, so you're one to talk. Yeah, I get it. Stephon Diggs can probably be very frustrated, but until that happens, until he physically goes out and be like, I want to trade, this whole media and whole things with him having drama on the Bills needs to just be put away. Until he actually physically says, I want to trade, guys need to stop thinking they know what's best for Stephon Diggs. Until he physically comes out and says, hey, I've had enough, I want to trade it away from this team, then okay, then we can be a little worried. I get it, heading into the season, it was like, oh, well, he hasn't showed up to camp yet, or he hasn't come up to, mandatory mini camp yet, but then he showed up for training camp, and then all things were better. So, again, it just, let the media talk, let the drama just happen. Stephon Diggs is just like, hey, I'm here to just play football at the end of the day. So,
I mean, he wouldn't be saying it, and I know, and I'm going to be harsh here. I'm just going to tell you right now, you're probably going to have something to say to me after we're done recording, but boy, and this is the statement you're going to have an issue with. Every Bills fan needs to take those rose-colored glasses off of everything's fine, we're in Candyland, we're prancing around having a great time. No, it's not, okay? Trayvon Diggs, I'm not saying he's right. I'm not saying that what he is saying is what Stefan's thinking, but I'm saying all this stuff throughout the year, something's eventually just got to click and say, yeah, he's not happy here. He's not going to outright say it because he doesn't want to wreck the locker room this season. And because, keep in mind, he's got captain status too. You wouldn't give captain status if he was outright saying, I don't want to be here. I want out of here.
Right.
I've had enough of this. He is keeping his mouth shut because he's carrying the C on that jersey. Yeah. He is looked at as a leader in the locker room. And clearly, I'm not saying he's unhappy, like, to the point of wanting a trade, but I'm saying he is absolutely unhappy about something in Buffalo. And I think, if you take the time to remove the rose-colored glasses, you'll see something's not right. He's not been, buddy-buddy with Josh on the sidelines like he has in the past. He doesn't appear to be having as much fun as he's had the last few years. Dude wants to win, and he's not winning. This is what happened in Minnesota to get him dealt away. Now, in Minnesota, I don't think he was ever a captain.
No.
So, another reason why, hey, I'm going to come out here and I'm just going to be flat blunt with you on how I feel about this. We fucking suck. And I want out. That's how he was there. I mean, he could have taken the Jack Eichel route, get captainship, and scream, I want a trade. But you know how bad that would look if you're looking at one of your leaders hearing him say, I want out.
Yeah.
So.
I don't think it's... I mean, there might be some truth to it, but until it actually happens, I'm just going to say it's kind of just water under a bridge kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying that I think that there's more to it than people are seeing. I think what you're seeing, I think I'm just reading between the lines is what I consider it. Now, I mean, and again, before we go into our picks, I have to say this. I'm not saying this because, man, I don't want people to think, hey, Brian's just harsh on Bill's Mafia. Brian doesn't like the Mafia. That's not true whatsoever. The truth is, I'm very fair. I like to believe I'm very fair in my analysis. I mean, if I see the same thing out of Keenan Allen, I'm going to call an ace for an ace. That's just how it is. And Keenan Allen's probably going to be gone at the end of the year for the Chargers, but that's a totally different story.
Right.
But, I will always be blunt about it and, quite frankly, harshly true. At least harsh about it. If I see reason to be. So, but with that, we should probably get our picks going here, right? We got a long list of picks this week to make because we got Thanksgiving week here. We got Black Friday for the first time ever. I think in the NFL we got Black Friday.
Yeah. Seems odd.
I like it. Let's keep it. Let's start with the Steelers and the Browns, the wild card battle. Cleveland at 2.5. But Freiermuth is back.
I'm going to say the Steelers, only because I don't know exactly how they're going to be with... Oh, who did they have? They have
PJ Walker, right?
Yeah. You know what? Yeah. I'm going to stay with the Steelers. I think the Steelers. I think that defense is just way too good for the Steelers. I think that is what's going to help them beat the Browns on the road.
Didn't the Steelers beat the Browns earlier in the year, too?
I think
they
so.
Did. So they did 22-26. So, with that, I'm gonna make my pick, and I'm just gonna say it's gonna be the Browns. I think I just like Jerome Ford. He's been heating up. I think it takes the pressure off of PJ Walker to have to play at a high level. So I think the Browns can barely squeak that out. Cardinals and Texans. Last week we probably would have both gone Texans, but now that Kyler Murray's back, Houston's only favored at 5.5.
I don't care if he is back or not. I'm gonna still say Houston.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say the same thing, but I'm saying it's less obvious. I'm saying I think there could be a little more debate for Arizona, right?
Possibly.
But no, we're both sticking with the same pick. Titans and Jags. I mean, I think we're both gonna go Jags. Jags are favored at 6.5, right?
Yeah, it's
So
Jacksonville.
yeah. Um, what are we gonna say about the Dolphins and Raiders? Dolphins, because I mean, Dolphins are favored by like 14 right
That's
now.
insane. Um, yeah, Dolphins, but hey, don't count out the Raiders just yet. I mean,
It's be the first time the Dolphins have beaten a 500 or above team in a few years, so I'm gonna go with the Dolphins here. Next game, we already are just gonna take the Cowboys over the Panthers. So
yeah,
yeah, I mean we're just hitting no. It's like a week of just no shit games. Bears and Lions. I'm taking Lions, man.
yeah, Lions.
Chargers and Packers. Chargers favored by 3.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the Chargers. I mean, if it was maybe Rodgers, it'd be a different story. But Jordan Love is absolute trash.
I'm trying to check the weather forecast. By the way, Justin Herbert. Okay, 48 and raining. I'm gonna go with the Chargers. Um, Justin Herbert, by the way, was asked this week about playing in the snow at Lambeau at one point in his career. Would it be checking something off the list? Justin Herbert came out and said, "That's why I play Madden." Keep it classy. Keep it
Yeah, but it's
classy,
a little
Herbo.
different. It's a video game compared to real life.
I more just had to laugh at that because it's just like keep it classy, Herbo. So, Giants and Commanders. I think we're both just gonna take Commanders, right?
Yeah, especially with it being Tommy DeVito. Yeah, I'm going Commanders.
Yeah.
Hey, Sam Howell's leading the league in passing yards, so I mean,
Sam Howell's just a beast right now. He's just like
the enemy has really turned Howell into a possible um, stud of a quarterback. Not gonna lie.
you're saying. I mean, 4-6. We said Ron Rivera is going to be on the hot seat. I really don't think he should be fired. I'm being honest. I think there's potential here with this team. I think there's a real potential if they just stay the course after the season.
Right.
So I'm just gonna say that. Bucks and Niners, San Fran favored by a whopping 13 points.
I'm gonna say San Fran. After that bye week, I mean they looked refreshed. I mean they got it going. Purdy looked good too. So I'm gonna say 49ers at home. Yeah.
I'm going to say the same. But here we go. I think this is a much anticipated rematch of the Jets and the Bills. The Bills favored by 7.
I mean, look at last year. I mean, last year Buffalo lost on the road and were able to win. I'm gonna say Buffalo. I think it's gonna be a lot closer than 7. Hate to say it. I'm gonna say at least 2 or 3 points.
Could the Jets win this game? Yes. I think they could. If the Bills lose, does it hurt their playoff hopes? Absolutely. So this is a game both teams need to have, clearly. And I'm just going to go with the Bills. I think the Bills win it by a field goal at the end. I can't buy into New York. Seattle and the Rams. And the Rams are favored by 2. This could be the best matchup of the day.
I don't know. This one's an interesting one. I mean, Puka Nacua has been is good, and so is Cooper Kupp. But Matthew Stafford's kind of been very iffy this year. I'm gonna say the Seahawks on the road. I don't know how the hell they have the Rams being a favorite, to be honest with you, but I don't know.
I mean, I'll go with the Rams. I think I'll take the Rams. Seahawks are okay. I just don't know. Excuse me, if they're that, they're really a serious team yet. Vikings, Broncos, Denver favored by 3.
I don't know if I like that. I'm gonna say the Vikings on the road.
Big man Josh Dobbs. I'm going with Dobbs mania here. So Dobbs and the Vikings get the job done. Oh man,
This is gonna be a hell of a Monday night game to watch right here.
matchup of the week. And by the way, since the 90s, when the Super Bowl rematch happened the next year, the team that has won the Super Bowl has won every matchup. Just a little fun fact. Since the 90s, the team that won the Super Bowl went on to win the rematch game next year, as the Eagles and the Chiefs will play each other. Super Bowl rematch, of course. 2.5-point favorites are the Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the Chiefs here.
Man,
I hate to say it. As much as I would love to see the Eagles win, I had to go with the Chiefs.
I think it's going to be the Eagles. I think they're finally going to break that streak. I just think the tush push, I think really the offense overall is playing way better in Philly than it did last year. I mean, Hurts, frankly, I think is going to challenge Lamar Jackson for the MVP award the way things are going. So I'm going to pick Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. In the Taylor Swift Bowl, oh, I'm sorry, who gives a shit about her? So, also, I knew I was going to say something about this game, but I'll have to think about it again and come back to it. But here we go. Packers and Lions on Thanksgiving. There's no over-unders yet for any of these games.
I hate to say it. I'm going to say Packers because somehow the Lions seem to always lose on Thanksgiving.
Why you got to bring that up, man? Man, I'm going to go Lions. I think they got this. Cowboys, Commanders. Another one with no spread.
The Cowboys.
I'm going to go Commanders. I'm going to go upset here. I think the Commanders are going to get them. By the way, Carissa Thompson just gave me the over-under for the next game. And she said it's a minus 14 for the 49ers and Seahawks. No, I'm kidding. Just wild what she did, but we'll save that for another day. 49ers and Seahawks on Thursday night on NBC.
I'd say 49ers on the road.
Yeah, I'll give it to you. Then Black Friday, the first time we ever have a Black Friday game, it'll be at 3 p.m. Eastern on Friday. So an interesting start time. By the way, it's on Amazon, but you don't need a Prime membership to watch it because Amazon is letting everybody watch the game for free. So Jeff Bezos.
They actually got smart for once.
What?
It's a while they got smart for once.
Yep, but so it's Dolphins and Jets here. Carissa Thompson says the Dolphins are the favorites. No, I'm
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go to the Dolphins, but I wouldn't be shocked if somehow the Jets won this game too.
Yeah, I'm going to lean toward the Dolphins as well. So that's our picks. But let's get to Tinkle on this. And, of course, a high school football team, they remodeled their sign on the bleachers. It's supposed to say, welcome to blank school. It said, Weckham, without the L. And let's just say their opponents had a little bit of fun with it. One team actually brought a sign that said, "We are here to deliver the L you're missing." So, for making a good, funny mistake, in terms of like typos, and again, typos happen all the time, but we have to, point that one out.
Right.
And for that, Tinkle on this to that high school for, oh my god, I'm trying to find the name. I'm sorry, because I want to be nice and give them a shout out. Trenton High School.
Mm-hmm.
So, Tinkle on this Trenton High School for not putting up the right sign with the right grammatical parts to it.
It's crazy.
All right. So there's no more out of turn 4, even though I don't know if it's been blowing up your social media, Jason, but it sure has mine. Formula One in Las Vegas. Fuck, I just don't care. And I know Jason doesn't, but it's probably been blowing up your social media. And thank goodness we don't have Out of Turn 4 this week, because I don't want to talk about that shit show.
I haven't seen anything about it, but
Lucky. Because Josh... Well, some of it I have seen is actually good. Daniel Ricciardo, of course. Josh Allen's friend, by the way. Daniel Ricciardo. Swapping helmets with my boy Connor Daly, but I'll let you say what's coming up on No Final Bell.
yeah, we're just gonna be talking about Full Gear, which is actually happening right now in Kia Forum in Los Angeles, California, which is actually Inglewood, California, I should state, because it's literally right across from SoFi Stadium. Won't be really watching it. I wish I could be watching it right now. If it wasn't working, I would be honestly watching it right now. So I guess you're lucky that I did have to work, or probably this podcast wouldn't have been coming out this week at all. Or maybe we would have done it earlier. Who knows? But yeah, it's gonna be Full Gear, and I didn't really want to get spoiled, but it looks like a couple titles changed hands, so we'll be talking about that one on the podcast. So definitely be looking forward to it, you wrestling fans.
Yep, then, hey, Out of Turn 4 will be back at some point in February. We're done for the real racing season here in North America. But can't wait to see what's coming up. Tune in to No Final Bell on Wednesday, and we will be back here next Sunday for Sunday Morning Tinkle. But again, we want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. Of course, be sure to save us all that turkey leg there. And we'll see you here next Sunday. Till then, goodbye, everyone.